come here as a Deutsche Bank alumni Bishna. It's a pleasure to have you. Can you tell us why you got involved with mentoring with the Moffat University?
It was actually a request that came on the back of the talk that we did in March of this year. So the business school invited me in to come in and talk about seeds of success. So my journey in investment banking in the last 10 years since I left DMU with my undergraduate degree, that talk was really sort of to inspire and motivate the current graduate cohort and also give them an idea of personal skills and competencies they need to just be aware of when making applications and competing with the rest of the peers in the market. Following that session, I received an influx of messages saying that people were really inspired, energized, motivated, and they wanted more one-on-one. When the article was posted online, I also received an overwhelming response externally outside of DB and DMU from people who are young graduates, recent students all over the world, just saying, can we have some more advice? Can we have one-on-one conversations? Time is really of the essence here. So what I wanted to do was set up a program that would be scalable. And so we had these conversations with yourself and Moffat University. And so Andy's done a great job, and as have you, in bringing this program together. So the cohort of mentees that we have now will be mentored by myself and by peers at Deutsche Bank that I have sourced who are also DMU alumni. And that's a great relationship. And those individual mentors and mentees will develop one-on-one relationships, but they also become a fraternity of individuals that can come together and debate key issues, discuss in an open forum common problems, discuss common development issues, questions about industry. And I think that is the stepping stone for developing a longer-term sustainable program, which again we've seen a lot of appetite for. Having this recorded by Stu and Ping Productions today also brings its own benefit, because when we post this online, we are able to respond to those individuals from around the world, from different industries, that have asked questions that are common with those that we discussed today. So, how do you prepare yourself when presenting for audiences? How do you prepare yourself in the application process? How do you distinctly mark yourself as an individual who is worthy of an interview when you're competing against thousands of other individuals? So I think these are common questions for people all over the world within that sort of demographic. And I think the more knowledge we can share on this and the more open dialogues we can have, the more people we will benefit.
Wonderful. And I can see really the way forward in terms of looking at a sustainable model for us. It's absolutely critical for the Faculty of Business and Law. But of course, mentoring is a key part of the university strategy, and Andy, you are responsible for mentoring within the university and liaising with the different faculties. So what is the drive? What is the university's drive, and what is the university's vision?
DMU is a real tour de force when it comes to employability. So we're outstanding across the country in terms of our offer for students, the number of students that gain graduate level employment and go into education as a consequence of the programs that we offer in this university. And the employability mentoring is our latest offer within careers. We've been doing it for a year and a half now. And the vision behind that, my vision, is of a high performing, quality assured scheme led by the active involvement of students, which is being inspiring industry, and it leads to our students getting graduate level employment. That's my particular vision for the project. The idea being that we're connecting our students up to people like yourself, people who are out there in the world of work creating success. And we want to be able to increase students' employability by providing access to mentors. So quality conversations based around the students' aspirations and where they want to go. For all the students that I've met with, for the cohort we've been working with today, all of them, although they come from different angles and want to get involved in different careers, all have the same core issue for me. They don't see their own qualities in the way that they should. So they're outstanding students, they have a lot to give and a lot to offer, but they don't necessarily see the belief in themselves that perhaps others who would spend quality time that do. And central to a lot of your presentation today was picking up information from students and reflecting it back and saying, this is what I'm seeing in you. And seeing those students, seeing them light up, that they can then go away and be inspired. The idea that being that we chatted about it earlier on, those students that are mentored on this program then become the mentors of tomorrow, that it becomes cyclical in nature. So the impact of what you do is not just then for a handful of students here, it's the people that they'll go on to support and so on and so on. So it's the depth of quality increases on the project, the number of people that engage, and it's all attributed to an individual's contribution. And then you compare that to the scores of mentors that are working already across the university, working with students, and that then it promises to have a great legacy. This particular project starts here and now. That's what really excites me.
And that piece about, you know, recognising yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your own sort of bioanalysis, I think that started for me at DMU. So as I alluded to at the speech in March, you know, for me, Peter McCarty was that one individual who believed in me when I didn't myself, when I was ready to go into the world of work and not complete my degree, or when I was, you know, not sure about halfway in, about sort of continuing part-time because I wanted to transfer to full-time. And the practicality for me was that I wanted to work full-time, you know, whilst I was studying. So I think for me, that journey started at DMU, and to sort of repeat that story and bring light in the same way to other students or graduates of DMU is very, very important. And, you know, I think that's the way in which we can accelerate change. That's the way in which we can improve the personal cultures and the cultures of the mindsets that we've got. And, you know, we can inspire people as well, like we did today, by just helping them recognise that it's not how far you have to go. It's also about understanding how far you've already come. And, you know, there are plenty of people on that journey who've recognised and appreciated you for having arrived at where you're at and for the potential that you've got. So, you know, rise to it, be responsible, be accountable, and fulfil that because you clearly have the capability. So I think that's absolutely fundamental in terms of making a mentoring programme successful.
It is a really important aspect, an angle of de Montfort University to enhance students' self-efficacy, feeling of self-efficacy and levels of confidence, and that ties in that with this very well. In the same way as, you know, over the last few years, our results in terms of National Student Survey have been outstanding, and what it does is reflect a level of care for students that you've just mentioning, and it's really rewarding to hear it from you, Bijna, because it's not just us saying, yes, we are good, we're good at teaching, we do care for our students, but still, within that kind of context, you know, in order to make mentoring happen, we had to bring in 4 different groups of stakeholders here. We had the students, of course, the university, the careers unit, the universities, the faculty, to some extent our partner organizations. So how can you, as an individual, when you work on those types of initiatives, how do you go about ensuring buy-in and mutual success from such an undertaking?
It's working from the nucleus, which is the common denominator. Mm-hmm. So here the common denominator was providing something that would be beneficial not only to this cohort of students, but something that could then be scalable across university, tie in with the mentoring objectives, but also support the academia that takes place in the business school and the day-to-day learnings from a theoretical and practical perspective. So it was understanding what the needs of the students were when they first requested this, what it was that they were looking to gain out of it, so the soft skills and the hard skills element, and saying, right, how can we create a platform that bridges across all of these denominators, which then in some way, shape or form affect all of these stakeholders. And I think, you know, by being able to do that today, we've demonstrated that it can be scalable, and it's something that becomes quite a natural fit once you do that initial analysis.
I think what's interesting for me is what you've highlighted there is there's a careers department involved, there's the academics involved and the students involved, and the common thing for me here is yourself, because you were a student here, you will have accessed career support, you will have been through an academic process, and you have chosen to come back, you've chosen to give your time voluntarily to support these students as they go forward. So that common core of the project remains yourself and your attitude, and the fruits of today, seeing the positivity of those students, the selfies, the buzz that was in the corridor as a consequence of you, that gives them something to emulate. Think to themselves, actually, in X amount of years' time, I could be the person coming back and talking about it. So from a shared point of view, it's great for Hullia to see students, current and previously, engaging together and talking. From a careers point of view, we have someone who represents exactly what we're trying to communicate out to students, because there's nothing better than a case study. And for them, they're just receiving that support. So everyone's a winner in my book.
But I think, that thank you for that, but all of the kind of the efforts that I make are entirely attributed to the efforts of people like yourself, like Hullia and the business school, who I've had a long-standing relationship with. We've never really disconnected. I graduated in 2005, I became one of the alumni ambassadors in 2006, and have been since. So over the years, there's always been an opportunity for me to come back and engage in dialogue, and more recently when you connected again just over a year ago, this is all, down to a proactive actions on part of the university as well. So the fact that the university does that and does a great job of maintaining these relationships and then helping these relationships develop and grow further is, a testament to your success also. It's a partnership.
Thank you. I think to wrap up, I would like to ask a question to you, Bishna. How do you, if we were to set this in the context of the corporate world, how important is it for large organizations or blue chip organizations to encourage their staff to mentor? How significant is it to stretch beyond clients and employees and direct stakeholders?
In my experience, I would say it's absolutely fundamental. And every organisation that I've worked for all over the world has endorsed mentoring and some sort of sponsorship. I think it helps you to pull yourself away from the day-to-day environment and look at the context of your career on a larger scale. And I think that's really, really important to get that independent critical evaluation, but also that constructive feedback and that positive sense of direction. And I think it's very, very easy to be caught up sort of in the day-to-day of each of our individual responsibilities. It's important to take a step back and focus on the longevity of your career and make a conscious approach of driving yourself in the direction in which you want that trajectory to grow. So I think mentoring absolutely enables that. And it gives you that reassurance and that sense of confidence building as well when you're at your fermenting stage of your career.
Well, it certainly is a huge asset for us as an institution, and we're ever so grateful for you taking part, inspiring our students, who we hope, as you say, Andy, will go on to inspire future students. So thank you so much for the time you spent with us, and looking forward to working with you for many more years ahead.
Yes, me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.